what's up YouTube? This is Foxtel Digital coming to you again with Black Girl Stocks. And this is another segment of our top 3 option plays this week, where we're just gonna go over a few different trades, stock fundamentals, and different strategies that you can do to make it through, okay? Now we have a big week coming up for earnings, and we've done pretty well with our earning positions in the past. All right, so next week we have Microsoft, UPS, Meta, aka Facebook. I'm still getting used to that Meta thing. Boeing, Pfizer, Apple, and Amazon, and they have a lot of other stocks that are reporting their Q1 earnings. So this week we should really see some swings and volatility. Also, we're gonna have another 2-day FOMC meeting. We're expecting the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates by another 75 points, possibly 100, but that's unlikely. So like I said, this week should shed some light on the real risk of us entering a recession. All right, so let's get into this week's plays. Okay, so the first stock is DASH. That's DoorDash, and right now we're trading at $73.45, okay? You can see this is a fairly new IPO, so DoorDash just became public in 2020, so it's fairly new, and you can see we've been in a pretty strong downtrend since about November of 2021. Even though this is looking pretty tight here, our DMI minus is above our DMI plus, so that's a very bearish indication, and our ADX value is 31. Strong downtrend. RSI looks pretty neutral, but we have peaked here before, trading below our 50-period moving average, but this is on the weekly chart. Yeah, it's looking pretty bearish for Dash. Now, news-wise, a lot of food delivery companies saw a huge surge in growth during the pandemic, but now with higher inflation, being on the heels of a possible recession, higher rent, okay, people are looking to cut costs wherever possible, so food delivery is taking a back seat in consumer spending. Another knock to DoorDash is an agreement between Amazon and Grubhub. And Amazon Prime members may even get free deliveries for a year. So, free delivery for a year? I mean, if you're talking about free deliveries, I'm moving over to Grubhub. Now, long-term DoorDash is probably gonna, be okay. But going back to the charts, it is looking bearish to me. So for me, if I was going to enter a bearish position on DoorDash, I'm gonna have my entry right here around the 72. So that was somewhat of a support that we saw on Friday. Also, if we moved below this point, we would also be crossing below our 200-period moving average. So for DoorDash, looking at the options, one thing I'm seeing is a very high implied volatility. So you see here for our options, our implied volatility is in the hundreds, okay? That's pretty high for me. Their premium is kind of high. So if I'm gonna do anything with Dash, it's going to be a spread. Okay, so we can do a call credit spread. We're still gonna be bearish. I'm gonna sell the 79 and I'm gonna buy the 89 strike price. But we're looking at a possible $12 to $32 as long as Dash stays below $80 by the 29th. Okay, and the next stock is NVDA. That's Nvidia, and right now it's trading at $173.19. Right now we have a Chip for America Act in play that could change the game for a lot of chip making companies. This Senate bill would provide over $52 billion in subsidies and tax credits for U.S. chip companies to kind of help strengthen the supply chain issues that we have right now. As more details and revisions are coming to light about the bill, it actually looks like it favors Intel, Nvidia's rival. So Nvidia's competition. So there's that. Then at the same time, analysts are slicing price estimates for Nvidia left and right. Upper management, they're already expecting a drop in revenue growth. So I'm going to be bearish on Nvidia going into next week. Been in a long-term downtrend. We had that recent spike up. You guys saw how crazy Nvidia was going last week. We are still in a strong downtrend, but it did kind of reach this resistance that we have here around this 170, right here at the super trend indicator, right here at the 50-period moving average. So we are at that point. MACD indicator on the daily chart, though, looks a little weak to me, and the RSI is dropping. Let's see what happens going into next week. If I was going to have a bearish entry, I'm going to have my entry set probably somewhere closer to this 170. That was around a support area that we had, actually 171, but if you wanted to be safer, I'll probably say 170. We're gonna move out a little bit, so I'm going to be looking at the August 19th expiration date. It's about 26 days away. It gives us almost about a month. Make sure we're back in our singles, puts, and we're gonna be looking at the $150 strike price. Okay, so you can see right here we have a 2.6 premium, but the volume and open interest insane. 28,000 open interest, 1,000 with the volume traded on Friday. The theta is a little bit high, so this is probably going to be something short term, but that's something that we can do for Nvidia. Okay, and the last stock is Meta, META. That's Meta, Facebook. And right now it's trading around $169.27. Okay, so this is going to be one of our earnings plays. Meta has their earnings scheduled this upcoming Wednesday on July the 27th after the stock market closes. Now, last week, I know a lot of you guys heard about it. Snapchat, they released their earnings, and after that, the stock dropped about 39%. So this is the lowest that Snapchat has been since 2020. And after that happened, a lot of other stocks in the tech sector followed its lead. So Facebook, Pinterest, Google, a lot of stocks in that sector saw a lot of losses last week after that. So with Meta's earnings coming up, let's see what happens. Now, these companies are seeing a large pullback in ad spending. Now, going to the stock chart, you can see that we've been in a strong downtrend since last November. Looking at the daily chart, you see that candle that we had on Friday. Look at the MACD. Look at that slope. Look at that RSI. It looks like we're at a ski resort and we just went down the hill. We'll see what happens next week going into Meta. And we crossed below our 50-period moving average on Friday and our 200-period moving average, and it looks like we're about to have a death cross on our long term. Going into next week, if I was going to have an entry for Meta, and even with the earnings, I'm going to have my entry probably around 168. Let's go to the put first. And so it's going to be very short term. I'm going to leave the expiration date at 29, and we can look at the $150 strike price. This is kind of like the same as the other stock, similar. So we can look at the $150 strike price, and you see right here we have a decent premium of $300, but the volume in the open interest is insane. 7,000 volume on Friday, so it was very heavily traded, very high open interest. The delta is cute. That theta is way too high at 0.5, and that implied volatility is too high, over 100%. But if this is, if this is something that you want to get into for a quick move, this is something that you can do. For me, I'm going with the spreads, and we're going to do a call credit spread. We're going to keep the same expiration date. And what we're going to do is we're going to sell the $180 strike price, and we're going to buy the $182.5 strike price. So you see right here, the bid and the ask is a little bit high here, but we're looking at a credit. We're looking at receiving a credit of 0.65 to 0.95. So it's like $65 to $95. This is something that you can do. Now, also, this is going to be a more risky trade because it's closer to the stock, to where the stock price is. If you wanted something less risky, what you can do is we're going to keep the same expiration, but we're going to move up a little bit to the 190, 192. So this one gives you a little bit more room, but you see with this one, you're going to have less of a profit and a higher possibility of a loss. So you can possibly lose $200 to make $40, and that's something that you can do. So that's something that we can do for Meta's earnings going into next week. All right, you guys, so that's going to be it for this week's top 3. If this is your first time watching this video, make sure that you hit that thumbs up button for me. It really helps the channel. Also subscribe, leave a comment, and make sure you check out this video on stop losses and how they can change your trading career, okay? For the better, of course. You already know I'm always going to give you that pressure, okay? So make sure you check that video out, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Love you guys.